A very warm welcome to all of you who are able to join us this morning. We are truly grateful to Brother Joe Huang and Sister Tzu Chi for initiating this new session on Xun Fa Xiang online with Hualien. This is an extended session, like I think Sister Tzu Chi and Brother Joe mentioned. It will run for 30 minutes from 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. every Saturday. So both Brother Joe and Sister Tzu Chi, they are so tireless, dedicated, and committed to help us to delve deeper and to get a better understanding into Master's teachings. They are really the affirmation of the supernatural powers to lead and guide all our these English-speaking brothers and sisters. So we will start today by requesting Brother Chin. Brother Chin, are you online already? Brother Chin?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. We will start the session by getting Brother Chin to lead the sharing for today. Okay, Brother Chin, the stage is yours now.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. I've been asked to start off this first sharing of this the morning session that we do every morning in Fa Xiang. Like what Brother Chu said, this have been 40 lessons by Master. So we have been sharing this every morning. So this is just a very brief summary of what we have shared over the past more than 40 days. So, and this is very much, so I can't really do justice to what Master have taught us for the past over 40 days, but I will do my best to share as much as possible from my point of view. So let us start off in Master in chapter 21 of the Lotus Sutra. In chapter 21 of the Lotus Sutra is about the transcendent powers of the Tathagata. So now the transcendent powers that is emitted or transmitted by the Tathagata, the Master have shared over for the past 40 over teachings. How does one receive this? And the 3 points that Master have taught us over the past 40 over lessons. One is we need to prepare, we need to get ready, and then we need to walk the path. And this is how transcendent powers of the Tathagata can be received by us. It's not like a magical wand that is waved on us, on our heads, and then we receive all the Dhamma teachings. So how do we prepare? Master shared that we are walking in the path of Tzu Chi. So we're preparing ourselves, we have to put in the efforts, and we need to learn the principles to prepare ourselves. Now, what do we need on this path? We need to bring along our heart and our mind, our cultivation. We need to be disciplined, we need to be diligent, and obviously we must be prepared to cultivate and learn. So getting ready. Now, in getting ready to receive the transcendent powers, we must understand that this transcendent powers is transmitted, transcending through light, transforming our consciousness so that we are ready to receive that. We need to be awakened, of course, to the teachings, and we need to progress, to be ready to progress in our cultivation. Now, we need to tune in the mind. So in tuning the mind, we need to train our mind. We need to be in practice. We're prepared to transform our mind from worldly consciousness to a spiritual consciousness, prepare the mind, and we need to prepare the mind of the Buddha, and be awakened, and we need to be egoless to be able to receive the transcendent powers. And then walk the path. So this walking the path, we need to be in practice. So we need to be steady in our practice. We need to endure this practice, and we need to have the faith of vows in our practice, because the faith and the vows and the precepts are the ones that keep us on toe to walk the right path. The direction, the Dharma is vast and is, as the in chapter 21 explained, the teaching is far and broad. So we need to walk that with compassion, with wisdom, compassion of our heart, wisdom of our mind, and we must be prepared the proper propagation need to be earnest in our practice, live the life in the Dharma. We need to have this treasure of virtues in our heart, to have the wisdom in our mind, to walk in the journey, and eventually we must be able to learn to propagate the teaching and share with others. So what does this mean to us in this transcendent power of the Tathagata? So in chapter 21, I just shared you on 2 points in preparing for us to walk on this path to receive the transcendent power. First of all, you need to undertake to live the purposeful life. Secondly, we need to engage in a meaningful practice. And thirdly, we need to walk in a path to learn, to grow, and to evolve in our spiritual life. So what I mean by, to me, what is it that we mean by to live the purposeful life? The purposeful life is to bring forth a great loving heart, to take on the discipleship and transform the character to be a peaceful being. So the discipleship is important because this is from discipleship comes the word discipline. So this to take on discipline, we are taking on the vows and the commitments to stay on the bodhisattva path and to transform the character to be a peaceful being. This character transformation is necessary to change our character, to be able to walk the path smoothly. And this can only come about if we undertake to engage in a meaningful practice. So the meaningful practice is that which is engaged in a good practice, to grow in the consciousness of life is. This consciousness of life is to be able to accept whatever is thrown to us in our life. So in our life, there are many happenings that will come to us. There are many becomings that will come to us. But if we accept that life is, that is all the things that we embrace in our life that happen to us, to purify our past karmic seeds, and also to prevent depositing new karmic seeds, so that we can then attain a knowing consciousness, which is the inner knowing from the contemplation of the teachings that Master has given to get the right understanding. So with all these things, with the purposeful life and meaningful practice, we can then be on a path of learning, growing, and evolving. Now, obviously, we can reflect upon the past, but the past is not about lamenting on the past or living in the past, but learning from the past to live in the moment of now. So now is the moment to grow in the virtues. Yesterday is the moment of learning, and tomorrow is the moment for us to evolve. So therefore, be prepared. So we are in a path of service that requires our time, our effort, contribution, and knowledge. Know the time that you can spare to devote to serving others, which is a noble objective that will open the hearts of many, and a salvation to those who need help. Or noble deed that you serve what you know, otherwise your noble intention may be regarded as medicine and troublesome by some. So we need to understand those in need as when we serve. So we need to ask ourselves how best one can serve. Know the situation arises and you will know. Serve what you know, and we also know what you serve. So let this spiritual journey unfold in the path of serving. And so this, in the Lotus Sutra and in path of activity in Tzu Chi, so merge together in this path of serving. So we learn to grow and we evolve in serving to transform ourselves and our character. So I'm worthy to be a spiritual being. So then we must then move on to talk about being ready. So what have we learned from being ready? So we need to tune our mind, we need to tune our heart, and so that we can receive the life and transmission of the transcendent powers of the Tathagata. So tuning the mind with the clarity of the non-discriminatory and non-judgmental mind, we can grow in the realization of wisdom learning. Do not judge the conditions that we may face. In judging, we actually indulge in the conditions, giving them the energy and the life that will have adverse impact on us. We also need to tune in our heart. So as you advance in the practice, listen with your knowing heart to advance in learning. Grow with a mind that understands. Evolve in the practice with the nature that realizes, and that nature, if we evolve in our heart and our mind, and that's the one, that nature, the inner nature that realizes, which is our Buddha nature. So in a proper, we are now then in a practice with the heart that knows, the mind that understands, and the nature that realizes. So obviously, the more we expand our self-knowing, the more we can correct ourselves. So we spend so much time trying to know others. We spend a little time to know ourselves. So this self-knowing, we can correct ourselves, we can get rid of our faults, we can get rid of our habitual tendencies. We are receiving the light and transmission, discovering the true self, which is the Buddha nature, with the perfection of virtues, will generate a right concentration to be able to receive this transcendent power of the light of transmission to gain in wisdom learning. The most faceted ways of perfecting each virtue enable the light of that virtue to shine in all directions, just like a flawless diamond that is all buried within the piles of afflictions that we have gathered in many past lifetimes. So therefore, be ready. Know that the precepts and promises and the vows of practice are the discipline that one must keep strictly so as not to commit any further unwholesome thoughts, words, or deeds. And as I mentioned earlier, we need to be a disciple, take on this path so that we have a disciplined practice and that we can build your resolve in growing morality in us. So with the discipline, not to commit any further unwholesome karma, morality will subdue the arising of past karma. When it does, you have then gained the courage and the strength to face the life becomings with a devoted, disciplined, determined, dedicated, and diligent practice, which is what Master have been emphasizing on us, what this diligent practice means. So these are the traits of patience and perseverance in the parameters that Master has taught us. So moving on to the last section that Master have taught us, now that we have taught us to prepare, to be ready, to walk the path. To walk the path, we must have the faith and the vows with us. We need to light up the path, and we are walking then on the path of giving. So in the faith and the vows, so we need to understand that we have armed and prepare ourselves to prepare and we're ready. So we will have storms in our life, and they are not meant to make your life difficult. And they are there to actually clear your path. So every rainstorm that comes to your life, it's actually a personal dance or practice to purify your spiritual journey. So when you're in a path of light, there's no darkness. When you're in a practice of love, there's no hatred. And which is what Master has been teaching us. So light up our path. And as you walk the path, it's a long journey, as Master mentioned. It's a long journey, it takes numerous lifetimes. But so long as the light is with us, the light will be clear, the path will be clear. So each moment of awakening is a spot of illumination. And how do we have this light in our path? It's to awaken. So each spot of illumination of our mind consciousness, penetrating to the cross of an obscuration and castration. And this are the obscuration and incrustation are the powers of affliction we have piled over many, many lifetimes. They have obscured our mind and crusted our heart. So they have shrouded the mind from realization in many lifetimes. So as spots of illumination grows, the light of awakening grows in brightness until you reach the state of awakening. It is from the state of awakening that we gain the realization in the teachings that Master has shared in the Lotus Sutra. So we are on a path of giving. So you want to see the spiritual attainment as getting something that is none. If you realize that attainment is giving away, there is plenty. So we need to walk steadily, and we need to walk this steadily as a steadfast spiritual practitioner. That one does not react, neither does one respond. One simply reflects and contemplates in the moment that the arising of thought is wisdom, that the flow of speech is in the Dharma, and the pouring of deeds is gentleness and humility. So one contemplates and can learn from each moment. So as we walk on this path as a steadfast spiritual practitioner, that's when we serve. we should bring forth this thought, speech, and the deed in all of us. So each virtue can be learned in 1,000 ways or 1,000 times, and that is the perfection of knowing in the training of a steadfast spiritual practitioner who has grown in consciousness. So we need to walk selflessly and in this bodhisattva path. So in the depth of the moment of silence in your consciousness, you will find peace and calmness of the silence. In the depth of that silence, you will find the knowing of the true nature, just as you can see the clarity in the stillness of the muddy pond, of the lotus pond. In the depth of that peace and calmness, you will find the all-embracing loving kindness, compassion, and within that, your selflessness. So we just be in practice, and I just shared actually this slide a couple of days ago to the morning Sin Fa Xiang sharing. So practice, practice, and practice to gain the transmission of the true teaching from the Buddha, who is the true teacher of the way to the truth. And it is also the source of perfection in virtues and wisdom, which is pervading through the hearts of all with great love. So we receive this true teaching and guidance to open our eyes of seeing and a heart of listening. Engage in the practice of knowing, understanding, realizing, and practicing the path with a true study, with commitment and discipline. You see, in this lifetime that we have here, we are very fortunate that we've encountered a true teacher. Obviously, despite the Dharma degenerating age, we have the true teacher in Master. Much that one can seek to find a true teacher, you cannot find a true teacher. Only the true teacher can find you. And that is through your affinity or the past life. And be able to receive true teaching that have been expounded upon us in the form of the Lotus Sutra. So therefore, it is now incumbent upon us to walk this practice in practice with the true study, with commitment and discipline. And that is for our duty that we have to do that. So to do this, I must also mention that we need to share this teaching to the next generation. And for us who have taken on this path, we have, having lost the way, some like, you have found a way, just as the Buddha has taught the world in this era. Yet many do not embrace the way because the deluded belief has not released them from the shackles of incrustation and obscuration. So to do this, we need to be able to share efficaciously. We can only do that if one, we respect others. At the same time, others need to respect us. And that respect can only come if we live the exemplary life of a spiritual aspirant so that we can inspire others to walk the way to liberation. So that's the whole chapter 21. I've been asked to do all in 20 minutes. So now on chapter 22, the master has started. This is on the entrustment. So in this chapter on entrustment, there's 3 points just to share with you all. First is on entrustment, then is about entrustment of practice, and the entrustment of wisdom. So the entrustment, the transformation of a character to harmonize your relationship with others so that you are a peaceful being to whomever you encounter, because you are entrusted with the teaching. You have to be entrusted to be the teaching. We meet to be harmonious, to be everyone that we meet. And in the practice, our desires and emotions will flutter in the worldly winds. So do not let the sail of your character be controlled by the bellows of the worldly winds of samsara, or you will then be sailing in circles of the samsaric cycles. So we need to adjust our sail or power your vessel with a higher consciousness or transformation, a change of a character. So this change of a character is the one that enables to sail in the right direction of the path of practice and the law of bodhisattvahood in our spiritual journey. And this spiritual journey is one of immeasurable distance, as Master have taught us. So in the entrustment of wisdom, there are a lot of things we try to change in our life, but let's just be simple in our lives to accept the things that we cannot change. But we must also have the courage to change the things we can. But more importantly, we must realize the wisdom to know the difference. So with that note, all in 20 minutes, Gan En, brothers and sisters. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Gan En, Brother Chin, for your great, impactful and deep, insightful sharing. Can we pass? We can get Brother Joe Huang to comment on or to guide us a bit.
Okay. Well, thank you, Brother Jin. I think it was very, very clear and very analytical to break down the pieces. And furthermore, not just analytical, but further, it's very spiritual in that it connects with what we do and how we think and how we don't think. I think there are still many parts that, because I don't follow every day, I think there are many parts where it's still quickly going through, seeing flashing on the screen, but I didn't catch. But I do see the three major parts in chapter 21 as, first of all, getting ready and to be prepared to walk the path and then walking the path. I think that was a very good characterization of that. About chapter 22, I think, because we're just starting, and I'm the student that will only follows master's footsteps, meaning I don't go over and start thinking about what should be there. But as you mentioned about this entrustment, and also the entrustment in the wisdom and the entrustment in the practice, I begin to think about, it makes us think. That's why I think this is wonderful, in that when everybody shares or more people share, you begin to stimulate your thinking and it gets you deeper. It's not the content of somebody said, it's something that they said that inspire more. And I think that will get you going. Okay, so master can only say so much, but the one that walks is still you. So out of all the entire hour or the 40 episodes or 40 days, 40 hours of teaching, what was the one thing that really stimulates you to go? That's the key, because you're ultimately the one that walks. And I think entrustment is going the other direction. Instead of pulling you to say, you should do this to serve others. You should do this to find the relief and the liberation. It goes behind you, and instead of pulling you, now it pushes you and say, now I'm not gonna be here. It's gonna be you. And if you love me, and if you follow this path, you are it now. And it's not so much in trust, but in thrust. It puts you on the front and says, you are now it. All the things that I told you before, you could do. All the things that you didn't think you could do, you actually have the superpowers. You just need to do it. And before I was here, so I get to do all of this. Now you are the one doing it, and it thrusts you forward and let you do that. So that's what I get so far. So all the pattings on the head, it's all conveying that if you follow the path, if you trust what I say, now is the time, better than any other time, because Buddha won't be there anymore. It's gonna be you. But if you think back into past chapters, Buddha has never left. So entrustment is sort of, before it was telling you how you can do to practice, but now it's going from the other direction and push you to the front spotlight and said that you're it. I'm not gonna be here anymore. You're it. You have to be responsible. No one's gonna be here to guide you anymore, because I've told you everything I know, and I told you everything you need to know, and I've told you that you can do it too. And I think in Tzu Chi is very different, because while we are sort of seeing sort of the tailing end, sort of, but Tzu Chi is very different in that because we are expanded to all the countries, Master isn't there. So you are entrusted and you are thrusted into the spotlight, whether you like it or not, on your first day. This is different from when the Buddha was having to push the disciples forward and say, well, it used to be me talking, now it has to be you. It used to be me leading the Sangha, now it has to be you guys. Rather than that, you guys were at the forefront. Malaysia, you're the one dealing with, for example, the refugee problems and all the things dealing with the Malaysian government and all of that. Not master. Yes, she's the guiding force behind, but you are the one entrusted. So in Tzu Chi is very sort of reverse because of reality. But with your brother Ching's analysis, it gets everybody deeper thinking. And I think that's important. Ultimately, that's what we need to do, is to stimulate each other and to have these thoughts and ideas and to take it in and to be able to, get the brain juices flowing again. So thanks to Brother Chin and thanks to everybody. And I know I was just talking to Master that you are one of the most diligent that I know, and you're exemplary. You're also my role model in that. I need to learn from you how diligent you are, seizing every moment. And I need to learn from you as well. So that's part of my preparation. Prepare to walk the path. And I still have my fears and my inadequacies. But I see that in you, and I tell myself, if you can do it, so can I. And that's the inspiration that I think we should do for everybody, that we should inspire everybody. So Brother Chin's analysis, if he can do that, so can we. How can we stimulate ourselves so that we can continue on this path even further and more persevering on this path? So thank you all. I think this is a wonderful session. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Brother Chin. Thank you, everybody.
Gan En, Brother Joe, for your wonderful and humble sharing. Okay, we will come to the end of this extended session. Please help us out. Please give us your feedbacks, how to improve. I think because this is our first session, to make this session more effective. For start, I think we will just invite volunteers to come and share, and then Brother Joe will give his comments and guidance. And of course, like Brother Joe said, we continue to learn from each other. So please, we will walk together this path. And good. We will have started this, and then we will continue every Saturday from 8 to 8:30. Okay. So until then, we'll see each other tomorrow morning, the Vulture Pig. So have a good day. Amitabha. Bye bye.
The song, the Li Wen song.
Oh, Li Wen song. Okay.
Yeah, Li Yen.
Okay. should express Gan En to Brother Chin and Brother Joe for sharing their insights with us. So we will say goodbye to each other now. Have a good day. Om Mito Pho. Bye bye.
Bye bye, Gan En.
Bye. Gan En.
Gan En, bye bye.
Kanan, 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 thank you.
Bye bye.